Hey there, interwebs. With any luck, this will be a quick follow-up video to my previous video about identifying similar hybrid monsters. First, I want to cover the griffin from the Netflix show Disenchantment, because this is a good example of a creature being similar to multiple hybrid monsters and having the wrong name applied, in my opinion. Everyone in the show refers to it as the griffin, but historically griffins have had the body and hindquarters of a lion with the head, wings, and forelimbs of an eagle. This griffin has all the right lion parts and the eagle wings, but the head and arms are clearly human. If I had to identify this creature on appearance alone, I'd go with some kind of sphinx. It has the male head and lion body of an Egyptian sphinx, and the eagle wings of a Greek sphinx. It is missing the Greek sphinx's snake for a tail, though, and the Greek sphinx has a female human head. That last part actually raises a good point. The griffin's human parts are very masculine in appearance, but she clearly identifies as a female. If she's transgender, could she not also be trans-species and just identifying as a griffin? This is a crazy fantasy world of elves and magic, so I'm not going to write that off as outside the realm of possibility. If she's not biologically a griffin, there is one other race we've already covered in the previous video that she might be, and that's a Manticore. As a refresher, those typically have a man's head with triple rows of teeth, a lion's body, and either a scorpion tail or one which can shoot venomous porcupine-like quills, and more modern depictions usually give them wings. This griffin lacks the venomous tail and obvious triple rows of teeth, but she still has a masculine head on the body of a winged lion. She also wouldn't be the first strange manticore in a current TV show. This is the manticore as seen on Game of Thrones. It clearly has the scorpion bits, and you can see elements of a man's face, but the lion body has been completely scrapped. Returning quickly to the idea of griffins and male griffins, in heraldry a griffin has the back half of a lion and the front half of an eagle, with lion ears. However, there's a separate charge specified as a male griffin, which ditches the eagle wings and instead has spikes sticking out from all over its body. You'd think such a distinction would imply that winged griffins are female, but those are also clearly depicted with male anatomy. The male griffin is also known as a keithong, so I suggest we exclusively use that term to avoid undue confusion. One other strange griffin relative you see almost exclusively in heraldry is known as the Ophinicus, Ophinicus. In the previous video, I said you can find griffins with front legs of a lion, but after further research that seems to be one of the key features to differentiate an Ophinicus from a griffin. The other big difference is that there seems to be some camel features in the Ophinicus as well. Like the camel, the Ophinicus generally has a short tail and a long neck, although the neck may still be feathered like an eagle's. I can hear what you're saying. Why are the eagle parts always the front half? I want one with avian hindquarters. Okay, that's probably not what you're saying, but cut me some slack. I'm trying to hear you across great distances and backwards in time, so speak up in the future. If you are looking for avian posteriored hybrids, look no further than the periton. Traditionally, it has the front half of a stag and the back half of a bird, though which parts it has can vary wildly from a deer with wings to a bird with antlers. Griffins, sphinxes, and manticores aren't the only leonine monsters who sometimes have wings. A hippogriff, as I've explained before, has the head, wings, and forelimbs of an eagle on the body of a horse, but if the horse only has the wings, that's a Pegasus or Pterippus. The griffin has a similar equivalent. If it's just a lion with only the eagle's wings, that's known as a winged lion. Okay, that's refreshingly straightforward. You're most likely to see one of these in association with Mark the Evangelist, Final Fantasy VIII, and anything to do with Venice. Sticking with lions, let's now head under the sea. This is a sea lion. This is also a sea lion. This one is spelled with a hyphen, and another name for it is a morse. It's sort of a lion mermaid. A merlion, if you will. Just kidding, this is a merlion, and it's a different mythical creature. The name comes from mer, which is Old English for sea, and lion, so it literally means sea lion. Again. The difference between the sea-lion, which I'm just going to call a morse from now on, and a merlion is that the morse has the head and arms of the lion, albeit with webbed paws, and a fishtail, whereas the merlion is just a lion's head on a fish body. Don't call it a lionfish, though, because a lionfish is a different creature which also lives in the sea, but shouldn't be confused for a sea lion, or a sea lion. The morse is limited pretty much to heraldry, and the merlion is almost exclusive to Singapore. There's a lot of history behind that, and I'm unsuccessfully trying to keep this video short, so look it up on your own time. Sticking with aquatic creatures, let's look at seahorses. Not those seahorses, the hippocampus. No, not that hippocampus, this hippocampus. It's like a morse, but just replace anything leonine with the corresponding horse parts. It's a merhorse, or for short, a morse. No, wait, never mind, that's taken. Let's just say that you can call it a hippocampus or a seahorse, but you'll need to follow it with a parenthetical caveat either way. Brains aside, this is a hippocampus and this is a seahorse, except in heraldry where the terms are reversed. In Blazon, this fish is known as a hippocamp or hippocampus, and this creature is known as a seahorse or sea-horse because that's not confusing at all. If you think it is, I've got bad news because it's only going to get weirder. there is another hybrid creature known as an ichthyocentaur. It's basically a fish centaur, which you'd think is just a merman, but that's too simple. The back half is a fishtail, but the front half is that of a centaur, or you could say the top is a human from the waist up, and the bottom is a hippocampus from the neck down. If you take a hippocampus and replace the horse with a goat, you get Capricorn. Speaking of goats, let's take a look at satyrs and fauns. No, I said satyrs and fauns. Both are male nature spirits that can be found with horns and hooves, but that's kind of where the similarities end. Fauns are of Roman origin, bipedal with the legs, tail, and ears of a goat. They're also generally more youthful and subsequently more foolish. In addition to the caprine hindquarters, they've also got goat horns. Satyrs, on the other hand, were an entirely different kind of horny. You'll almost never find a classical depiction of one that doesn't have a comically large raging stiffy. They also had the tail and ears of a horse, not a goat, and early art shows them with horse legs as well, though later art gives them human legs. Wikipedia describes them as comically hideous, with, quote, mane-like hair, bestial faces, and snub noses, unquote. They were semi-literally party animals who liked music, dancing, wine, women, and revelry, or sex, drugs, and rock and roll, to use the vernacular of today's youth. Don't let all the partying and American pie-grade shenanigans fool you, though. Satyrs were also considered to possess great knowledge and wisdom, as opposed to most heavy drinkers who only think they possess great wisdom. That's all nice, but where did the goat features come from? And how did these get so confused with fauns? The blame lies squarely with Pan. Pan was an ancient Greek deity associated with wisdom, nature, fertility, sex, music, and what later generations might refer to as freaking out, which is where we get the word panic. You can see the large overlap with the satyrs, and Pan was the one with the horns and hindquarters of a goat. He's where the Romans got the image for the faun, and they associated their fauns with Greek satyrs. Eventually, the two got so mixed together that the differences were lost almost entirely. I know this can all be confusing, and that's why I made this video. I hope it helps you to distinguish your mythical creatures in the future. To support my personal shenanigans, pick up one of my ebooks linked in the description. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.